Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I'm sitting by the radiator because it's kind of warming my back and my shoulders. Um, I wanted to talk about ableism as an autistic person. I'm newly diagnosed, so I was undiagnosed for quite a long time. Um, and I'm going to be using Harry Potter here as like a way to discuss this, because I will be discussing bullying. I'll be discussing suicidal ideation, yeah, and ableism. So if you don't like that, just click on to something else. I watched the video essay by Ember Green called Harry Potter is also ableist. I was a huge Harry Potter fan when I was a teenager, from when I was 15 to 18 approximately. It was my biggest point. I'd kind of missed the train because like Harry Potter was mostly big when I was like 11 to 15, but I was really invested, and it was my special interest in high school, and I was living for Harry Potter. Harry Potter was the reason I woke up in the morning and the reason that I did my things rather than like think about suicide. So, very important to me. I really liked being immersed in Harry Potter. And yeah, my favorite character was Luna Lovegood and Neville Longbottom. And both of them are underdogs and both of them were bullied. And Ember Green makes the thesis that the hypothesis that Luna Lovegood is autistic. And yeah, that explains a lot, let's just say. Because I related to Luna Lovegood a lot, and a lot of what happened to her and the way that she was reminded me of me and the way I wanted to be. And yeah, I ended up having to distance myself from Harry Potter. I started realizing that J.K. Rowling was a bad person in around 2017, 2018. And so I distanced myself from the author, but I only started distancing myself from the books like totally like 2022, 2023. I didn't interact with any of like the merch and all of the extra stuff, but I thought that maybe like that I could reconcile like death of the author and like the book is actually okay, but the book is also bad, you know. It's not just racist with like Cho Chang and the goblins being Jewish people in lore, and also the fat phobia and the ableism of squibs being treated terribly and muggles being treated like subhuman rather than wizards. Even the supposedly nice characters aren't very nice towards muggles, and they say a bunch of stuff that is actually kind of mean about squibs too, and also about each other. And yeah, a lot of people are mean to Luna Lovegood, and they call her loony, and they hide her things, and they bully her, and Hermione hates her, and Ron Weasley just finds her funny, but that's it. And Harry Potter mostly pities her and is not really friends with her because of that. The only person who's nice to her is Ginny Weasley, and we don't see even a lot of that. So I related to that, being quite alone, and also being quite quirky and, dreamy and all of that. I believe that Luna Lovegood is INFP, and that Hermione Granger is ESTJ. J.K. Rowling relates to the ESTJ part of Hermione, it seems, like the book smarts and the perfectionism and the practicality, as opposed to Luna Lovegood, who is just head in the clouds and creative and imaginative, which I find is kind of interesting, for an author. But yeah, I believe that Luna Lovegood is an INFP because it would give a good purpose of the story to be like a foil to Hermione. A lot of people type her as INTP. I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, Luna Lovegood is autistic, and so was I, without knowing it. And yeah, a lot of the bullying is because of ableism, actually, and it's not like it is always like people know that I'm autistic. They didn't know that I was autistic, but they knew that something was off with me. I wasn't like everybody else. Something was weird about me. And I knew that something was weird about me, but I didn't know what. And I was just rejected because of that. And people would make mean jokes, and it wasn't nice. I know of people who have been actually bullied way worse than me. And what I went through, I didn't consider bullying until a few years ago. Because, there's this idea that bullying is like putting your face in the public school toilets. Like, that's the kind of thing. Or, being punched against the lockers. Like that's the stereotypical of what bullying is. But sometimes it's just like people's whispering behind your back, It can be that seemingly little, but it's actually hugely destructive. And it has led to many insecurities. And a lot of problems I have today are because of that. I don't think that children are born neurotic, Like, sure, we all have our personalities, but I think that a child is not born with social anxiety. And it's something that you develop with time because of your experiences. I don't think that I would be struggling with so much social anxiety and even to a certain degree agoraphobia. I don't have the diagnosis of agoraphobia, but I do have certain tendencies towards that, where it's like difficult for me to leave the house. I get scared of going to an event and not being able to leave. I don't exercise outside because I'm worried about how people will perceive me. And I can't, I don't only feel safe when I come back home, in my own home. So these are all things that are because of what happened to me. And I don't think about my bullying every day as sometimes I think about it, but it's very seldom. But the repercussions are subconscious, they're unconscious repercussions in my psyche that aren't I'm thinking of my bullying. It's not like that. But now I've been thinking about my past a lot because of my autism diagnosis that is relatively new. I got diagnosed almost 3 months ago. And I started realizing, going through all of these experiences, that, oh, yes, it wasn't great. First of all, there was this girl who has bullied me from the age of 5 or 6 up until I was 18. I managed when I was older to get away from her presence mostly. And we were kind of frenemies, I guess. Like, we were friends, but also she was very authoritative. I managed to find better friends later on. Sorry, my fingers fell asleep. But she basically was, she was a very, like a person who really needed control. And so she wanted to control me and said that everything that I was doing was wrong. So it was a lot of teasing. She teased me about, when I was 11 or something, about not taking baths or showers as often as you're supposed to. But like before puberty, you don't really need to take a shower more than like twice a week. And I'm not saying that because I'm a gross person, but she made me feel like I was a gross person. Sure, you don't want to smell, but you don't need to take a whole shower or bath in order to not smell. And now I understand that, it's because my parents are neurodivergent and I am neurodivergent, and the sensory hell of taking a shower is not something that neurotypicals understand. So my parents thought it was normal that I was just taking a shower twice a week. But me as like the honest, naively honest autistic person, I was like saying that to people. When they asked me how often I showered, which I don't know why you would ask that question, but I would answer honestly. And then I realized, oh, that was the wrong answer. I also dressed pretty weirdly, and always have. And I dressed up as Luna Lovegood for a Halloween party, and then nobody knew what I was supposed to represent because I dressed up as Luna Lovegood every day, So they were like, what's the difference? I was like, don't you see I'm dressed up as Luna? They were like, no, that's just how you always dress. So yeah. I've been this, even my closest friends, one of them said, oh, you dress up like an ice cream. I was like, what does that mean? And yeah, it's because I had like bright colors. And then there was somebody else who really made me insecure about sports, because I lost a pair of sports clothes on the tram on the way to school. Like I left bag. So after that, I didn't have like my favorite sports clothes, which was really difficult for me, because they were my favorite. But I usually had like cotton pants, and this guy just said that I was wearing pajamas. He was like, haha, you wear pajamas to sports class. And I was like, and that has hit me like so badly. So now I can't, like, that's why it's hard for me to go do sports, It's only one part of the reason, but still, that's it's a stupid thing to attach yourself to, but that kind of is what happened. My brain thinks of that every time, and it's like I'm embarrassing whatever I do. And and then there's also really messed up stuff. I told you guys about the time where I was forced to watch a porn video right before math class. It seems like a lot had to do with math class for some reason, but yeah, like at the time I was just like, okay, well, this is just a thing that happened. I'm going to move on now. But yeah, I think about that now. It's pretty awful and traumatizing. I never said this to anybody of like the adults, because it's like it wasn't like the typical bullying that you would see in like American series, with like people being beaten up and all that. Then I went to, when I was around 11, I went to one of my friends' birthday parties, and I was like that person, like Luna Lovegood, who would draw. Luna Lovegood in the books, she draws in her room. She has like pictures that she's drawn of her best friends, and she's drawn like them on the ceiling of her bedroom. And she says she has like a golden chain around them that she's magically activated to show friends, and like the word friends in twirling around all these pictures. That's the kind of thing I would have done, and I worshipped my friends, because I love them so much, but my friends did not care about me as much as I cared about them. And so yeah, I went to that birthday party. I'm still friends with this person to this day, so it's not like I hold anything against her. I think that she was just trying to not like to save face, because she invited me and I heard her talk to her friends while she thought that I had gone to the bathroom or whatever, and they were asking her, why did you invite her? And then she said, oh, my mom and her mom are friends, so I was kind of forced to invite her. And yeah, so she didn't want to seem like she was friends with me around her other friends. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to keep a brave face, for such a naive and oblivious person I was pretty resilient in other ways, in that, I had to just keep going I had to keep being at this party, And then later on in that party, the fact is, I don't really remember exactly what was said, but basically it was mostly just talk and not anything that happened. But people said that they would do a striptease in front of me, and like this was all a joke, but I wasn't part of the joke. The joke was that they would all have a striptease for me, and I would be tied to a chair and be forced to watch. And they said in graphic detail like what they would do. And it was like really funny. Yeah, I mean, kids are mean. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, how are you supposed to react when somebody says that to you? And then they laugh at the fact that you don't know how to react. So you're like stuck. So I think I spent most of that birthday party like hanging out with my friend's mom, like eating the tuna sandwiches that she made. I don't think I don't remember the rest of the party. I think I was okay. But like these are small things, but the accumulation of all these things is, it creates an extremely insecure person. so like I could relate to that. And then there was a girl who she hid my wallet. I had this little like bag that I would have on every day, and it was kind of like it was always with me. I always had that bag on me, and I it was hidden from me, and all day I was like in tears, like looking for this bag because that's where my money was, and it was my lunch money, and also I had like sentimental things in there, um, and also like practical things, like I had a pencil in there, and I had it was like my little purse somehow, a very small purse. I didn't have a phone, so it was just like stuff that I needed for the day, like my bus card and all that. And I looked all over, and then it ends up that it was under this girl's chair. It's like I didn't see it because it was right under her chair, but I looked throughout the entire school, and then like finally I saw it under her chair. And she'd sat there on that chair and put it under there just so that she could see my face, like when I retrieved it, I think. And I found it, and I was like, "It's under a chair. You hid it from me." And she was like, "Oh, why would I do that?" It's like, okay. Uh, I was like, "I've been looking for this everywhere, and it happens to be under a chair." And then I found out later that a €5 bill had been taken out of there. And for me, €5 was a lot because, when you're 11, like how much money do you have? I didn't have my own, you know, it, it wasn't really pocket money because it was supposed to be used at the cafeteria, and for rare, like a candy bar, and yeah, I never got proof that she had stolen the money, but I know that there was money in there that I didn't find afterwards. And yeah, nothing, I never knew what really happened, but she just said, "Oh, I didn't think that you'd miss it because it is so ugly." And then I was like really insecure because this is something that I wear every day. And yeah, there was a lot of other things of like people, pretending to have crushes on me and being like, haha. And then there was this guy who bullied me, and then I I ended up at the beginning of a year being placed in the same class as him, and I begged my mom and to talk to the supervisor of the school, like the not the teacher, but she was like kind of like a just a person who worked at the school, to like control the students, I guess. And that person was so mean. That person actually, I was crying, and I said, I'm going to be with people that are treating me badly. She's like, "Are they bullying you? Who's your bully?" And I was scared of like telling on the bully because what, I didn't know what would happen. And so I said the name of the person, and she said, "Oh, him, but he would never hurt a fly. He's grown so much, and he's such a gentleman." And she was saying this in front of my mom. Yeah, my mom didn't. I'm grateful for my mom. I love my mom, and she did help me through that. But she didn't do more. My mom's advice was always just to ignore it, which is what Luna Lovegood did in the Harry Potter movies and books. She just ignored it and just kept being herself. But look where it brought Luna, you know? It didn't really help her. She was still bullied. She never stood up for herself. And I never did either. You know, and none of the adults cared. She had no friends to help her. So yeah, same for me, you know. And I think that my mom could have done more if she had the tools to deal with these things. But she didn't, so I don't blame her. I'm just saying that I didn't get any help. I was just supposed to get through all that. And a lot of the things that I went through was because of me being autistic. People can be bullied for all sorts of reasons, and sometimes there isn't a reason. But the fact that I was pretty naive and oblivious to things like the social structure of high school or middle school or whatever, and the fact that I didn't know how to dress and I didn't know how to be, and you know, even in primary school, I was reading, and when I was reading, I would put a finger underneath like the words that I was supposed to be reading, and I didn't know about the middle finger. I didn't know that it was a thing, so I was using my middle finger to like read, to help me read, and everybody was like so shocked that I would do that, and they would keep saying that I was doing the middle finger. And also at that time, it wasn't really like you could look things up on the internet. So I forget how I figured out what the middle finger was, but you know, I was around 7 or 8. I didn't understand what was going on. And then like, so that was a big thing. And you know, there's so many stupid, mean things that kids figure out to bully others. And I realized like Harry Potter wasn't actually helping me with the bullying. It created a world where I felt like I was safe to from the bullying and the depression that I was feeling, and all of the anxiety by pretending to be part of that world. But now I'm realizing that that world wasn't even, you know, wasn't that great. Had I been in the Harry Potter world, I would have been bullied there as well. And that is really devastating to think about, you know? Now, I don't put as much importance to Harry Potter as I did then. Like, I put a lot of importance on it then. But now I don't place a lot of importance on it at all. But it is quite disappointing. And then to realize that so much of this was because of something that I couldn't control. And that's the case for almost all bullying, I guess, is something that just because you're you, people decide to gang up against you. And I have been part of bullying others as well, even if I haven't really done an active role in it. And it was because I was so desperate to fit in and just not have the spotlight put on me all the time. I ended up becoming friends with somebody that was really bullied. And at first I was like really, really embarrassed to be friends with this person. And then I realized, like I need to be more mature than all these people who bullied me. I can't like go on and bully others. And even if I'm not taking an active role, by not doing anything and by being passive and not standing up for what is right, I'm actually contributing to nothing happening. And so that's why I think also it's important for me to talk about autism on this channel and to actually do a better job than J.K. Rowling, to actually work towards inclusion. J.K. Rowling attempts to make a world that included everybody, that was for all of the misfits. That was kind of the thing. But she ended up not doing that. She ended up, writing a story, sure, but it was not the purpose. Like her purpose was not well executed, because it ended up not being inclusive. It ended up not being a safe space. A lot of her, the watchers, the readers were really, neurodivergent or LGBTQ or, trans kids. There would be people who were of, Asian people. There were Black people. All sorts of people were reading her books. And you would think that it was inclusive and a safe space for all these people to come to. But in the end, it wasn't. And so I want to do a better job in that. I want to embrace the fact that there are weird people out there, and I'm working on it, because it's not easy for me, because I've been a pretty judgmental person. I'm trying to grow myself, and to help others feel safe, and to try to create a culture, a world that is accepting of people and children like I was. So, yeah. I don't know where this video is going. It was originally going to just be about Harry Potter and ableism, but it ended up being a little bit more about my story with bullying and such. Yeah, tell me what you guys think. Have a great day.